Hey everyone, welcome to History of Rap. This is episode 3. I'm Brice Shepherd. So before we get into today's episode, I want to remind everyone about episodes 1 and 2 with Gary Householder and from. Let me start over. I'm going to remind everyone about episodes 1 and 2. Episode 1 with Gary Householder from Fried Color and Bill Keys from 506 Signs. You can find those episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, or stream them directly from the website historyofwrap.com. Then for anyone that actually likes to watch their podcast, check out YouTube at History of Rap. Lastly, if you're interested in being a guest on the show, I'm always open to sitting down and speaking with just about anyone in the adhesive back industry. It doesn't matter if you're an installer, a designer, owner, trainer, trainee, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you have information that you want to share or something of value that others can take with them, listen, I want to talk to you. I love knowing about anything and everything from the rap industry, and I don't care really how long you've been into it or what you're doing. So, I mean, we can talk for an hour, we can talk for 10 minutes, it doesn't matter. So if you're interested, shoot me an email, historyofwrap@gmail.com, with the subject podcast guest, and I'll take a look at them and we'll be in touch. We'll talk, we'll chat. So today's guest, I'm actually really excited to sit down and have a chat with. So this person's been in the industry for years and years and years. We'll find out exactly how many. And he contributes to the rap industry in ways that many people don't really even know a thing. So he's not an installer. I couldn't tell you if he's ever wrapped a car in his life. I really don't know. But today's guest is, uh, you'll see coming up. You'll see, because he's going to be with me here in just like a couple minutes. So we're just going to wait, and maybe with a little editing, it'll be like that. We'll see.
Recording in progress.
Yes. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, let's make it happen this time, huh?
Perfect. Yeah, I definitely made an issue to make sure everything was recording.
Okay.
Again, I don't know what happened. Uh, anyway, so I already did my intro. I was just waiting on you to get here.
Oh,
So
okay. Well, here I am.
yeah, we're just gonna pick up and we're just gonna go.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, and I actually wrote down how you pronounce your name. I went back
Okay.
and listened. So, Russ Kochever. Kochever.
It's not
Kochever.
Russ. Rugs.
Yeah, sorry. I don't know what I just did. Rugs Kochever.
It's Kochever, but it's all right.
Kochever. God,
Yeah,
man.
real close.
I'm off. I'm just gonna call you.
Just call me Rugs. It's fine.
Oh
Or
man.
any other, name you'd like to use. That's
Rugs.
fine. By the end of this, there might be something totally new you want to call me. So who knows?
Kochever. See, I wrote it down. I wrote coat, COAT, and then Chaver, but I didn't put like a long A
Yeah, gotcha.
thing over it. So I messed it up. Rugs.
Yeah.
Rugs Kochever. Good. So man, I have to apologize again. I'm gonna start off from the very beginning and apologize. So and I'm first of all, I'm a little embarrassed. I kind of told you that when I texted you or emailed you.
Yeah.
But what people don't listening or watching realize is this is the second time we're sitting down. We actually did this last week, and due to whatever the reason, I don't know if I didn't hit record. I don't know if I just lost it, whatever. Our entire conversation did not get recorded. It got recorded from one angle, and it was all you could hear was me. Since I had my headphones on, I couldn't hear you at all. I actually went back and listened to it, and man, it was boring because listening to me talk one-sided, that's nothing nobody wants to hear. So anyway, I appreciate you coming back and meeting me here today. And we're gonna start today where we left off last time, which you were kind of impressed with, because I didn't ask you where your nickname Rugs came from until we had talked for an hour and 15 minutes.
Very end. Yeah, you held out.
So let's start there, and then we'll get into everything else.
All right. Well, the rug story, I mean, it's a bit of lore, but the real story is a little bit boring. I'm the youngest of 8 kids, and my parents were digging pretty deep by the time they got to me, but they saved a gem. Rugs is short for Ruggles, which is an old family name. My great grandma's maiden name, my grandpa's middle name, my middle name. Now it's my oldest son's middle name. We'll see. We'll see if he passes it on. But yeah, I've been rugged since I was knee high to a grasshopper, as they say. So it's been with me all my life. And if you ask anybody who James Kochever is, more than likely they're like, who? But if you ask who Ruggs is, probably most of them have heard of me at one
There
point
you
or
go. There you go. Perfect. Family name. I love that. I also have a family name. My middle name is also something that came from my grandfather. I have a second cousin that also has it because of my grandfather. I have an uncle that has it. So it's, yeah.
And what is that?
Owen.
Owen. Nice.
Owen. Very simple. Very simple. Yeah. So there's about 4 of us, I think, in the family that have it. And so anyway, so all right. In my intro, I let people know that you are a person that's been in the wrap industry for years, and you don't actually wrap cars. You don't wrap anything,
Yep.
which is awesome. I love that. So what I do know about you, especially from the last time we talked and a little bit from earlier, is that you basically got into the wrap industry because you were a trade show guy.
Yeah.
You did stuff with NBM, correct?
Yeah.
The big show, as they called it. And then eventually what ended up happening was you said, hey, we need a place for all these misfit sticker putter honors to gather and everything. And that's what you did. So tell me a little bit about that. Tell everybody a little bit about that. I've heard it. I don't need to hear it again, but everybody else maybe.
Sure, sure. So, yeah, this was a while back. I mean, like 2006, 2007. I was working on our sign and digital graphics magazine at the time and working with our NBM trade shows. And we had a show in Long Beach where Justin Payton and Todd Labrie were actually rapping in the Muto America booth. So this goes back to kind of humble beginnings, right? For way pre TWI for Justin, and but we were talking and got to know each other a little bit there, and all the things that we were talking about was, hey, a lot of the market is pretty stagnant, but this thing's got life. This has pizzazz. This has real wow factor. Where it wasn't just the same old neon sign, or it wasn't a chloroplast sign that was being printed. This was a two-dimensional graphic being applied in a three-dimensional manner, which I was like, okay, the artist in me totally grabbed this and ran with it. So, internally we started talking about what is this, who knows about it, who doesn't know about it, who needs to know about it. And everything when you're in the trade space is about education. So we wanted to educate, all these shops that were missing the boat at this point, who didn't have a resident wrapper, who, probably just, if it was a flat box truck, they were cool. Otherwise, they were shipping it off, down the road. That's not the business we're chasing. So, initially we started with Wraps Magazine. And this was a kind of a collaboration with Frank Fellers and Justin Pate and Sergio DeSoto, if you remember Sergio for back in the day.
I remember that name.
Yeah, it was a conversation that we had, and it was like, hey, should we bring this to the masses? Is there enough meat on this bone to talk about regularly? So we brought out a bi-monthly magazine, and it did pretty well. But back then we were really only just talking about, what is wrapping? What's the business of wrap? A little bit of the how-to, and kind of getting into those sorts of things, but really just talking about the materials and what you can do with it, that sort of thing. Well, the downturn in the economy happened, and we were like, okay, we just can't continue to produce this magazine. So we were like, we don't want it to go away, but we combined it into our sign magazine, which didn't give it a whole lot of love or, attention. And it just felt like, okay, the timing of it is bad. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we waited, and around 2012, we were like, okay, the economy is back. it's rebounded enough. Let's pull it back out and we'll do it as one big annual. We'll make this, something that has some meat and people can, wrap their arms around it and advertisers can go big because it was just one time a year and let's see what we can make happen. Well, year after year, it was steady. It was starting to grow. It was starting to gain some popularity. And being in, the trade magazine and trade show space, we said it's probably time that we add this component to the shows. And so we started very, very humbly. I got 5 videos from Justin. This was back a ways, 10, 11 years ago or so. And we just did this thing called reel to reel wraps, where we showed some videos, we let people eat popcorn and drink a soda on the show floor and just kind of watch, 5 of Justin's earliest videos.
The ones that the box set of DVDs or whatever.
Yeah, basically that kind of thing. Yeah,
I still have those.
Yeah, they were great. It was cool because it was wow factor. People were as enamored with that as I was when I first saw it. They were like, "Oh, this is cool, and this is the future, and this is the beginning." They could see the wave cresting, and if they didn't get on it, they were going to get hammered by it. So there were more and more people paying attention, and it was like, okay, yeah, we might have something here. So the following year in Indianapolis, Justin came and did like demos for 5 different sponsors. We had like a couple of different vinyl companies there and printer manufacturers there that were sponsors for the event, and we just did a handful of demos, and that was kind of the early version of what became WrapsCon.
Yeah.
So with that, we were like, okay, let's do some East Coast, let's do some West Coast, and as this thing grows, we'll add an element or two, now and again. So we started with, a happy hour because we were like, hey, the show has a happy hour, but let's make something cool for just the rapper. And so we started our Meet the Masters happy hour, which was a place for people who wanted to get into rapping to show up and talk to a handful of experts about what is rapping, how do I get into it, what training do you suggest, where should I go, what products do you like, those sorts of really pretty entry-level questions, as far as the education path is concerned. But again, it started to catch fire and it started to make kind of celebrities out of these known, identified experts in the field,
and that was a great way for networking back in the day. I mean, I remember attending one of those happy hours, and had I known back then what I know now, like I would have been a lot more talkative. I remember I went and I showed up early, like waiting for people. It was like waiting, like, and then I probably spoke to like 2 people and chickened out because I was like, honestly, it's like meeting your hero. You never want to meet your hero, right? So,
right.
But it's still great for networking.
Well, and there's some big personalities, I mean, when you have a Justin Pate or a John Duver, a Troy Downey, Jim Miller, you get some of these guys in a room, the walls close in pretty fast. You're like, whoa, I'm like, this little niche of the industry, that's like having DiCaprio and Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise in one room, kind of thing. Like the walls do close in and you can feel humbled pretty quickly, based on your own skill set. And God, do I want to ask the question? What if it's a dumb question? What if it's, and we definitely saw some of that. And, fast forward 20 years later, and you realize, look, we're all just the same people. We just have a passion for stickers and we're as full of crap as anybody else, kind of thing. If again, like if you knew then what you know now, you would just walk right up to somebody and have a conversation. But,
exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, it was cool. It was a humble beginning. We didn't just jump in, and it wasn't just a huge event out of nothing. Each year we would add something like a panel discussion in the morning. We started a design contest a few years later. We developed the rap contest that enveloped kind of all of these things and gave all of the manufacturers an opportunity to get their vinyl, in the hands of the competitors and donate prizes and all those sorts of
Yeah.
things. So it was really one of the first opportunities where, let's say you were a 3M guy and you just hadn't really touched anything else, an opportunity to join a contest for free, touch 3M, Avery, General Formulations, Flexi Shield, Stack, you name
Yep.
it. There was a bunch of different things.
Sorry. What's up?
No, it's good.
When do we do his insulin?
Like 6:45.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Bye. Sorry.
Make sure she gets a cameo credit or something.
I will. I'm gonna have to. That's 2 in a row. She did the same thing last time.
And the cat. Don't forget the
And
cat.
the cat. Yeah, he laid there last time too. He.
Yeah. So
Anyway.
so anyway, it was just kind of a cool way to get material in the hands of these competitors who may have otherwise shied away from touching PPF, wet apply, dry apply, or anything else for that matter. So
Well, you got to pay for it. So when you got to pay for it, and you're just going to mess it up or rip it off. Like that's
exactly.
You got to have a lot of capital for that.
So this was a cool way to do that, and yeah, it just kind of evolved over time, and we got to work with a lot of great manufacturers and had a tremendously good time watching, people compete and wrap really interesting items, and not just cars, but odd objects that they never saw coming. And and that's the fun part, is when you hand somebody a bowling ball for the first time and they're like, how the hell do I wrap this thing? Or whatever. Especially on the clock, you got a very short amount of time to make it as far as you can, kind of thing.
Exactly.
And that was fun.
Yeah. So from that, tell me. So you had mentioned it, like you kind of very slightly hinted at this, like all these guys and girls, like we do stickers. We all speak the same language. You hinted on that last time we talked.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that is really, really kind of profound, that it doesn't matter where in the United States you are, Canada, Europe, China, it doesn't matter when it comes to installing vinyl. It really is the same language.
Yeah. I refer to it as the international language, the international language of vinyl, right? It is. I touched on this in one of my editorials a few issues ago. No matter where you are, you can see a competitor like Tadashi or Ivan or Kiss or somebody like that come and blindly enter a contest and go to participate. They're handed a new vinyl that they've never worked with before, and they just lay it down the exact same way. Somebody from the US who spoke the language, who's been in contact with the manufacturer, whatever the scenario is, and it just speaks to them, right? You're reading the direction, you're reading the bubbles, you're reading the lines, you're reading the tension points. All of those things are pretty universal. So you can have someone from Japan show up and totally kick butt. And it's awesome, because again, it's universal. And when you have that type of kind of bridge language, it opens it up for real conversation where you talk about your shops and you find common ground, and you have that ability to talk across not only geographic lines, racial lines, sexual lines, men, women of all races, creeds, and colors can talk vinyl. And it's a great equalizer. And it's everybody in the market has something to offer. And this is a great way to open up your ears and listen to this person that you may or may not have otherwise, crossed paths with. And so it's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, I really do love that. The fact that, something is simple, and I say simple, vinyl, with how it's made and everything like that. It's not necessarily simple, but simple, the end product, something as simple as a big sticker can really kind of create a melting pot of people, where cultures come together and people come together and can really just get along and really bond over sorry for the pun, bond over, something as simple as something with an adhesive back on it. So I really do like that. Do you find, because I know that you've been to shows in Europe and other countries and things like that, do you see that when it comes to the vinyl, European culture, American culture, even culture from like East versus West in the United States, Chinese culture, do those lines blur when it comes to like getting into these shows, and when people get involved, that you just kind of see like that all just kind of goes away and it's just vinyl?
Yeah, it's really cool. Actually, for all the big personalities that are in the market, you would think the egos would just close the ears, right? I mean, like, I'm better than anyone. I've won these contests. I've won Europe. I've won, RapScon. I've done all these things. But I don't see that. I see a lot of people that are humble, that are just willing to learn. I see other people that are super gracious with willing to teach. And you come to these contests, or you go to a training class, or you put on a seminar or anything along that line, and you see just like people want to be sponges. They want to learn. And yes, I don't care who you are, what part of the world you're from. You're coming at it from whatever you see in the vinyl, whatever you read, right? The cold pre-stretch and other things, or the zero stretch technique, or whatever that is. Most of the people aren't coming up with this stuff. They're seeing it happen somewhere else, and then they're taking that knowledge and they're sharing it with 10 people, and those people are sharing it with 10 more people. So before you know it, a technique that originated in Japan is all over the United States. And it's because people thought it was cool, and they saw the efficiencies, and they wanted to share it. And the people who could check their ego at the door were willing to listen to it and go, you know what, I think I could adapt, that technique and make it part of, my toolbox, or my tool.
Yeah, I love that. That's one of the best things, because at the end of the day, an installer, like, they want to provide the best possible product, the install. So it doesn't matter where a technique comes from or where a tool comes from. If it works for you, or if it works for a particular installer, like, they're going to latch onto it. I couldn't tell you how many times I've tried something because I saw someone else using it in a video or whatever. I'm like, that could probably work. Or I get it and, get the thing, and I go, it didn't really work for me. I like the old way of doing it, or whatever, which is great, because what works for me doesn't work for you, or doesn't work for somebody else.
Right.
But at the end of the day, as long as the product, the end result is good and your client is happy, like, that's what matters.
Right. And so everything that, takes place within the sale of a wrap and the delivery of a wrap, that's like the, many ways to skin a cat sort of thing. Like, as long as the conversation expectations, are set and then met at the end, who cares how you get there, right? And that could be, hey, I do it this way, or I do it that way, and I use this tool, and this is my favorite vinyl, and this is that. Look, as long as you meet that expectation, you're good, right? You can do that however you want. But everybody's road is a little bit different, and 3M people love 3M, vinyl, and Avery people love Avery vinyl, and you kind of pick your favorites. Sometimes you're asked to go outside the box because they want a KPMF color, or they want to something else, and that's fine. You need to adjust your game. That happens all the time with vinyl manufacturers and tool manufacturers. They're trying to come up with what's the best combination here.
Right.
One for efficiencies, but two for finish and durability and those sorts of things. And that's the cool piece to this, is that not only are they doing it, but the installer is looking at their technique, looking at their process, and going, you know what? If I had a tucker and a knife on the same tool, and I didn't have to keep going to my pouch, I could be more efficient. Enter Scott Decker's knife tucker.
Right.
So there's all kinds of things. Look at mag straps. Like, where were people before mag straps?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Dan found a gem, and he's been doing great with it. And I don't know anybody in the market that doesn't love them. And now you've got Luis Toredo with blade cage, and Javier Cruz has his monkey paw now, which is cool. It's your torch holder, right?
Yeah.
Cool stuff. So there's a ton of different people out there in the market that are just saying, hey, I got a better way. Yep. And anymore, there's how many different squeegee manufacturers.
Yeah.
You know, and okay, I'm going to make a strange comparison, but tell me if I'm wrong. Is the squeegee not like a couch? Man,
Yeah.
you go to buy a couch and you will sit on 1,000 couches to find the one couch you're actually going to take home. And the squeegee is that personal. You're going to feel it, you're going to touch it, and you're going to put it in your mouth, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do that. And I mean, you'll try out 100 of them before you figure out, okay, this is the one I want. And
I'm trying out a new one right now. I'm trying out a new one right now. And I'm like, I don't know if I like it. I like the idea of it, but I don't know. It's a little clunky in my hand and it doesn't, I don't know. I might have to go back.
There you go. So, I mean, everything's very personal. And I like that about it. I like that about the market, because that makes everyone, it kind of levels the playing field, but it also doesn't allow you to be put in a box. Like you can keep your originality and your uniqueness, and for me as a storyteller and a presenter of people's stories, that makes it more fun.
Yeah. So speaking of storytelling, so let's jump back into your magazines. So you are editor-in-chief of WrapFam Unleashed. Your wife does all the layout, right?
Yeah.
All the graphic design and the layout, which is fantastic. That's that's one of the ways I actually got my start in design. In high school yearbook, I laid out the yearbook.
And that was probably
3 years in a row.
Laying out real pictures, like taking overhead snaps.
I'm not that old. That old. But no, it was all
I am.
It was all computer based. But no, that's how I got my start. So the page layout stuff. So, but so you do that once a month. You've been doing it for a year. The February issue of this year just dropped the other day, correct?
Just yeah.
If you haven't read it, go read it. I'm traveling in the next couple of weeks, so I'm saving all of these and I'm just going to binge them all on the plane and the airport and everything like that. I'm going to go back and just go through them all.
Yeah, you can always download it if you're going to hop on a plane. You can read it online. You can download it. If you're a person who likes print, we actually do have a print copy available for purchase. Yeah. We don't produce any online, or we don't produce any ourselves, but you can go online. We have a partner called MagCloud who will print on demand. They're a little pricier, but if you're featured, it's well worth it. Buy one or two, keep one in the shop so that you've got it on the coffee table. Send the other one to mom, so she can be proud and show off that, hey, look at this. My son just plays with stickers, but he's in a magazine. That's pretty cool. And
so where did WrapFam, was WrapFam a thing before the Unleashed magazine, or tell me the origins of that?
WrapFam has just been kind of common nomenclature, I think, amongst the wrap installers, really. WrapFam has been a long time term of endearment. It's the family you choose, right? It's the family you make on the road. It's the family that you become laying vinyl right next to someone on a show floor, or helping them out doing a job, or maybe you work together. You name it. Like, let's face it, it's not the easiest job in the world. It's not like having an office job and the person next to you, probably you're not office fam, right? That's not, it's not a thing. But when you spill blood in the same mud, you become a little closer, and you understand each other a little bit more, and you face the same frustrations. And I think it's through those trials and tribulations and those super duper late nights and the cases of Red Bull and whatever that you share together, you become a family, and that's part of it. And though I don't rap, I have had several late nights with many people in this industry that I now feel like I'm part of the family. Maybe I'm the weird uncle or something. I don't know, but like I feel like WrapFam really just, it encompassed everything that I wanted to show.
So
the Unleashed part of it is really about the fact, like, let's let the dog off the porch. Let's tell stories. Let's be graphic about it. Let's be relatable. Part of the Unleashed is to say we're not a regular trade magazine. We're not for everybody. Okay, this is for the family. This is for if you got to tell a story and the only way to explain the story is to drop an F-bomb, well, then that's what I'm going to put in the magazine because it's relatable. It's real. It's always been meant to be real shop talk, peer-to-peer, relatable content. And so that's where WrapFam Unleashed came from, and that's what we stand by.
Awesome. So what made you decide to go back, I guess, to your publication like foray? I mean, you were in the trade show deal for a while, you did the publications, there was kind of a forgive me if I'm wrong, there was kind of like a little hiatus there for a while where there was nothing. Right? Kind of. And then like
yes and no. Came back to yes it. And no. We always had an element of that in the magazine. Though I was with the trade shows, they were side by side. Right. Like we combined our show efforts and our magazine efforts to create Graphics Pro and the Graphics Pro Expo. And that RapsCon was part of Graphics Pro Expo there for a long time. And with that, so I was always still kind of part of the magazine side of things as well. Basically, when the company was sold, I stayed on for a little while and just kind of, transferred intellectual information, that sort of thing. But then as soon as we were done, my, short-term contract was finished. I was like, I know what I want to do. I want to bring back a rap magazine that is monthly, that is, all the things I wanted it to be before, when my hands were a little bit tied by the owner of the company. And I was like, the best way to do that is to go digital. If I go all digital, I can be all over the globe instantly. I can write articles and share articles in different languages from different countries. I can show off the work of more than just North America's best rappers, but I wanted like everything. So that's kind of where we were. My contract with them was over October 31st of 23, and I was at SEMA November 1st of 23, talking about, hey, I'm launching this thing. And that's where we began. That coming January 1st, we launched the magazine, and we've been going strong ever since.
In that first magazine, you actually had featured it in there a few different cars. We talked about this last time. Tell me about that, because I actually went back. I as soon as we got done with our conversation, I went back to that episode and looked at it, and those particular cars, and then actually got you some further accolades like within the rap industry.
Yeah, it's
tell me about that.
A little I don't know if it's good karma paid forward or back or what it was, but I genuinely like care about the people in this market. I've made so many good friends, made so many good business contacts, that I guess it's good that my efforts were appreciated and that they were recognized. At the Worldwide Rap party that takes place in Vegas in SEMA timeframe, I was actually given a Lifetime Achievement Award in 2022, which was really humbling, very, very cool. I guess it's kind of like a record producer going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You don't think about it, but there are a lot of people behind the scenes that contribute, and
absolutely.
And it's kind of hard to make the thing all go if you don't have those types of people.
Exactly. But it's a pivotal part to what's happening. So I mean, you think about it. I mean, if you don't start there, if you don't start with, if you're not doing the trade shows and don't have the ideas for RapsCon and the publications and things like that, like how much would the industry have stayed stagnant? So you play a very big part in that, whether or not you know it or not. Doing the rap contests and things like that. Now you can't go to a trade show without a rap contest.
Right.
You can't go to SEMA. I mean, heck, Avery Dennison does their what now they call Rap Like Royalty during, they kind of do what they do those or announce those around the kind of the SEMA time frame, don't they?
Right.
So, that stuff doesn't happen without you and what, people like you do.
Right.
So that's something to be to be said.
Yeah. I mean, I try to be as humble about it as possible. I know that, everybody has, their role to play, and I've been very happy and fortunate to play the role that I have. Again, I have a lot of passion for it, and that's what I try to bring to the table. And, with that, I was actually at a show and I was approached by, the guy who played Rafterman, Kevin Major Howard, in the film Full Metal Jacket. And he actually has these 5 Mustangs that he takes to 911 memorial events, and he's big with police departments and military parades and things of that nature. And he came to me at a show and asked if I knew some people that might be able to rewrap his Mustangs. What he wanted specifically was a very Americana wrap, but most importantly, he wanted to put the names of everyone who perished on 9/11 on these vehicles. And I was like, that's one of the coolest things I've ever heard. What a great concept. I just so happened to have a panel discussion that took place that day where I had Casey Folk from PDX, Dallas Fowler from Digital EFX, Ryan Sandoval from Blarb Designs, who else? Kevin from PG NOLA, and Jamie Mulligan from Rap Artists. They were on the panel, and I was like, you know what? There's 5 cars, and I got 5 artists right here. I'm gonna ask. You don't get if you don't ask. So I went to them and said, hey, man, are you guys in? And they very, very, again, very humbling said, Ruggs, if you want us to do it, we're in, kind of thing. And I was like, that's also very cool. So we got started, and this was mid-August, and they wanted to have these designed and wrapped and ready for display 1st of November. So I had to ask these 5 top of the line, designers to come up with 5 different independent, designs ready to be templated, ready to be printed, ready to be wrapped, in basically 2 months, which was a huge, huge, huge ask. And they came through it with some of the most cool designs like ever. Just really, really very unique to their own styles, but also just breathtaking designs. And then Elliot from 5150 Wraps there in Las Vegas, where the cars are located, graciously donated him and his shop's time to actually do the wraps. And we unveiled them at the Worldwide Wrap Party in 2023. And oddly enough, we took home the Wrap Project of the Year award for that as well. So for not being a rapper, I somehow have 2 of those on my desk. So again, very cool, very, very humbling, but it's just associating yourself with really cool people who do great stuff.
Yeah, surround yourself with greatness. Something good's going to happen, right?
Exactly. So it's pretty neat. It's neat when you have someone like Jamie Mulligan. Back in the sign and graphics days, I put one of his buses on our cover, and he mounted it. It still hangs in his showroom, and he's like, that put us on the map. And I'm like, what? You're the rapper to the stars. You've done hundreds, thousands of buses and trailers, and you're saying I put you on the map. That's giving me way too much credit. But he's very gracious like that, and has made that comment. Kevin Kemp, again, another just highly sought after designer, is like, Ruggs, without you, none of this would have ever happened, kind of thing. Because nobody cared. Nobody really gave 2 cents about the rap crowd until, kind of thing. And if that's the part I played in this, then I'll die happy.
Do you know if those cars are still wrapped to this day? Because that was a few years ago.
Yeah, they are still wrapped because they're, they were donated, right? The guy didn't pay. So they're going to stay on as long as possible, but they've made the circuit. They've been to a number of memorial services. They go to every car show in town, and they actually were negotiating. I'm not quite sure if they ever got this worked out, but they were supposed to have a residency at the MGM Grand
Oh,
in
cool.
Las Vegas, so more people could see it and get up close with it, with the 5 cars. So yeah, I mean, it's cool. It's there's also supposed to be a documentary that goes along with this stuff, but last time I've heard, that's been a typical Hollywood thing. Like, let's kick it down the road 6 months. Let's kick it down the road 6 months. So hopefully they get it done and they get everything shot prior to them needing rewrapped or any damage happening. So
right, yeah, something like that happens, and it's like, well, here we are. They shoot it, and it doesn't come out until 2 years later or whatever.
Right. So who knows what'll happen? I don't think we did it for the persona in Hollywood or whatever. My involvement in it was, hey, if you do something like this, I think it would be a great way to elevate awareness for the wraps market.
Oh,
so if Kevin could use his celebrity to lift the wrap brand in the world, fantastic. It was worth the effort. So
you tend to work on projects that you think are cool, and and you don't care about the money or the recognition of that thing. Like, if you think it's cool, you think it's cool. It's the same reason a lot of people get tattoos. Like, you get tattoos because you think it's cool and you want to share that with people. So and that's one thing that's actually kind of resounding that I've actually found out in the past couple of years and speaking with people is they really installers, and again, it doesn't matter if it's installer or if it's an administrator that works at a shop or just an owner who doesn't really do much wrapping anymore or anything like that. Like you said, the majority of the people that I've met, like, they're so humble. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you are, I guess, in the pecking order of things, that as long as you're on a cool project or you're around the cool people, like, everything's all good, man. It's the way it is.
There's an energy that comes with it. And I don't want to say that the typical rapper is an adrenaline junkie, but I think it gets you high a little bit, and I'm not just talking about smelling the adhesives or, I think there's something about just when you kill a compound corner or a wrap or you hit a spot where you're like, I nailed that grill, or those rims, I never want to see them again, but damn, they look cool, kind of thing, where you're like, okay, I just did the improbable, right? I did something that, like, should have never happened. I took a 2D piece of art and put it on a 3D surface and totally changed it, made it infinitely more cool. How do you not get a little rush out of that? How do you not, So I totally understand when especially if you're staying up late night, somebody pulling these like 72-hour wrap, like last minute jobs that have to be done, rush things that you're like, holy crap, I had to call in 3 people and we killed this. And at the end, there's nothing to do except feel a moment of elation and then a crash, right? So, because you did it and it's great, but then it's like, oh, then tired kicks in and you're like, okay, roller coaster done. It's that when you take a deep, when you finally exhale, when you're pulling into the station after a roller coaster ride and you're like, woo, that was cool. But then you're let down. You're like, oh, well, what's next? And then you go chase your next high.
Yeah, you got to do it again. That's right. Yeah, and there's plenty of it out there. That's for sure. I mean, I still, I don't know. Maybe I'm fooling myself. I still like I'll record, like a lot of installers do. I'll record myself doing XYZ. Like, I love recording myself doing bumpers. That's how I learn how to do a bumper better the next time. I can see where I went wrong and everything like that. But like, I'll take still shots of like crazy, like, look at all the wrinkles I'm putting into this, or look at all the, look how I'm stretching it or whatever. And I'll just like look at them like, look how cool that is. Yeah. And then you look at the finished product and it's like, how did that go from, this crazy looking, just like wrinkle city to looking like paint, like, in just, a matter of minutes, essentially. Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely great. And that passion is something that I've noticed so many people in the industry have,
Yeah.
and like I said, it goes from bottom to top, with these people are going to trade shows and they're talking about that, and they're in coaching groups, and they all just want to be better. And it doesn't matter how they get there, because it is just like, again, like I said it before, it's a melting pot of cultures and ideas. And it's just something that's really good to be a part of. And like I'm thankful for it. Like, I'm thankful that I get to sit down and here I am talking to you about the rap industry. How crazy is that?
Right. Very
Like,
cool.
I get to put stickers on stuff for a living. Like, how cool is that?
Right.
So
There's a business out there for
yeah,
playing with stickers.
exactly.
How cool, right?
Exactly. Yeah. You have a term for that, don't you?
Well, I have multiple terms for a lot of things, but I, yeah, there's something that came out of this where you and many others who never fancied, yourself a business owner or whatever, you became an accidental entrepreneur. You became a business person out of almost happenstance, right? You start slapping, you're weeding vinyl one day and you look over and you're like, hey, we got this vinyl in. Can you put it on a car? Sure, I want a piece of that. So then you start going into that, and then you start realizing, hey, I'm pretty good at this. Maybe I'll take a class. You take a class, and then you come back and you're like, wait, maybe I could, we're charging a lot for these wraps. Maybe I should be making that money. Maybe I could go out on my own. And then all of a sudden you're out on your own, and you think you're doing pretty good because you're slapping some vinyl down and you're getting some money, and you're like, oh, cool. But then you start to realize that you know nothing about a P&L statement, and you don't know about financing, and you don't know about taxes, and you don't know about this, that, and the other thing. And all of a sudden you go, I'm a business person who doesn't know anything about business. Yeah. And that was actually my passion for starting the magazine, was to say, hey, let's make people dangerous. They know enough to just get things going, but what if they knew the business side of things? What if they actually knew the acumen that went along with this? And so when WrapFam Unleashed came out, I was like, man, I want to find the best teachers possible. I want people out there that are giving decades of business knowledge to these readers to help them. Let's take the accidental entrepreneur and let's make them an actual business person who can run a viable business, who's ready to make their business scalable and you know what I mean? Yeah. So I went and found the Matt Richards and the Tyler Dunn's, Brent Knotts, you name it. There's a bunch of John Doover. There's a lot of the same guys that are actually giving away their knowledge in these peer-to-peer training sessions and whatnot, Rap IQ and others that are out there. Whether it's a Facebook group or it's a paid program or whatever. It's a sharing of ideas and history and trying to make sure that the people who come behind them don't step in the same holes that they did and have to live that and have those losses and possibly put their family's livelihood at risk and that sort of thing. So very generous, very, very good people out there trying to give these business tips and speaking of their own trials and tribulations, which very admirable.
Yeah, and that's something that's almost 180 degrees different than how it used to be about 20 years ago, because even and in the sign industry too, you have people going up against each other, and they don't want to give away trade secrets. They don't want to give away how they do anything, what materials they're using, what they're pricing things, like how they're what their processes are. They don't want to give away anything that. And now it in the rap industry, it seems to be a total 180 where we all just want to make the industry better. Right. I can't wait for the day to fill something out online and it says occupation and it says rap installer or something. Right.
Wouldn't that be cool, right? We'll get there.
Maybe we'll do it, because now we're just stuck with other or for the longest time, right. So
well, I think coming from the sign and digital graphics world, I saw every shop in the world play it close to the best, right? They never showed their cards. They were not about to train somebody and have them leave. They didn't, you know, it again is a 180-degree difference when it comes to rappers who are like, look, if you think you can do better away from me, good luck. Go take your shot at it. I think you'd be better off if you stayed, but we'll teach you what we can teach you and then wish you the best as you go away. Most of the people who are running very good, reputable shops, I don't think they fear that so much. I think it sucks when you lose a good person, and it definitely, you got to ramp somebody back up to speed to fill that hole. But I think in the end, it's about respect and understanding people's needs, and they're running a business too. It's just like the Luka Doncic trade that just took place. You're running a business, and you can hate Mark Cuban all you want, but in the end, was he winning a championship? No. So what did he do? He made a business decision, and he shipped a superstar someplace else. Yep. And they're going to rebuild, and they're going to figure it out. I don't know any rap shop that's any different. You got to figure it out. You roll with the punches. So
that's true.
Yeah, well, it's interesting, but I do think that some of the sharing of this information comes from, I'm not going to say a self-serving place, because I think it's back in when we had like the first RapsCon, I got on stage and I kind of gave a little rah-rah speech about a collective reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, hey, don't go out there and do half-assed work, because what that does is it creates tension, it creates bad feelings. That person who has a bad experience is going to go out there and yelp it up. They're going to go out there and they're going to talk poorly of the rap industry. And then those jobs that you would be getting, you're not going to get because someone down the road tarnished the rap reputation. And I think there's more and more people who understand that. Like, hey, there's a ton of potential that is sitting out there ripe for the taking when the rest of, especially North America, catches up and starts rapping more and more things. And if everybody's doing really good work, then nobody has to worry about where their next meal is coming from, because the collective reputation is going to speak for itself. It's like a global marketing tool that everybody gets to lean on. Hey, this shop down the street killed it, but they're 6 months out in getting me in. Can you do it? Yes, we can squeeze you in a month, or whatever that looks like. So it's a piece of, like, everybody should be networking. Like, in my opinion, nobody in the rap market has competition.
Mm-hmm.
The reason for that is everybody should be leaning on each other, sharing jobs back and forth. If you've got a rap shop in Denver, Colorado, and you get a fleet and it has to be done by X date, who is the most convenient person to bring in to help you work on that? Probably the other shop in Denver, Colorado, right? I mean, that's what makes sense if you can have a good professional relationship with others out there in the industry. Maybe that's a little, altruistic of me to say or to think, but I think there's something to that.
Yeah, but it happens all the time. I mean, heck, I have weekly coaching calls with guys, and there are competing shops within the same coaching calls, and they, have nothing but nice things to say about each other. We bounce business back and forth all the time. And, and that's just part of it. I mean, I think it's a closed-minded person that looks at their competition as the enemy instead of a friend. Like you can't have that kind of mentality with things like that. I mean, it's kind of like it's like a karma thing. You do good, you're going to get good back. So why would you put someone down for doing what they do? And even if a competing shop doesn't have like the best reputation, don't talk shit about them. Just lift them up, because at the end of the day, like, it's only going to help. You're only going to help yourself by doing that. So, I like to put the power in the consumer's hand. I got a price from so and so, and I think I'm going to go with them. Fantastic. I think I think they're going to do a great job for you. If you ever need anything, you let me know. So,
well, let's face it. What does your persona look like if someone comes in and you talk trash about your competitor down the street?
mm-hmm.
You don't actually make yourself look good by talking smack. Like that doesn't, I don't know anybody in a professional setting who wants to hear that from anybody. You know, they want to do business with people they like, people they trust, people they can feel proud to say, I work with this company.
Yep.
Well, how do you feel good and feel proud about doing business with a company that talks smack about other companies?
Right.
That just think about that for a second. It should give you a better perspective on how do I really want to refer to my competition? How do I want to talk about the other people in the industry? I mean, think about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can't agree more. All right. We've been going for about an hour, man. Can you believe it?
It's time goes, fast when you're having fun. So
it does.
Yeah, gosh, I appreciate you having me on again.
It does.
I feel like we could talk for two more hours, but I think you got a little one that is ready for bedtime. Or
I do. Apparently, well, we got dinner. Apparently, I got to give one of my cats insulin because he's diabetic.
There you go.
2 cats, 2 dogs, 2 kids, and a wife. So we got a zoo around here.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So anything else? Last time we kind of ended with a little bit of like personal things. I see you got guitars hanging in your background. You got I think you mentioned a band last time, so you kind of unwind by playing some music and stuff. So
yeah, I've been playing guitar since about the 7th grade, been in a band for the last 10, 12 years, that sort of thing. Yeah, I love it. It's kind of my let your hair down and relax and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's good. I dig it.
Good. I bought a guitar during COVID. I actually bought a guitar and a ukulele.
Okay.
And I probably know like 3 chords, and that's about it. And it's been 3 or 4 years.
Y'all start somewhere, right? COVID, I don't know a whole lot of people who didn't try something new.
Try something. Oh man, it's actually sitting right behind me, and I should pick it up more often than I do. And I've heard 15 minutes a day. It's all you need, and I just don't. I just don't.
Even at 15 minutes a day, it's hard to build those calluses on your fingers. So
yeah, that's true.
You don't have those, you don't have much. But yeah, other than that, it's the wife and the kids, and play a little Mario Kart here and there to unwind, and of course you got your electronic leash, your phone with you at all times. So it's crossword puzzles and things of that nature. So
yep. So let everybody know out there where they can find you online, where they can find WrapFam Unleashed, and how to get it.
Okay. Yeah, you can find us at WrapFam.com. There you'll find some more information about me. You can find all of our past issues. You can see some of the stuff that we've been up to. You can buy merch. You can do a lot of different stuff there. Most importantly, you can submit content. So if you're interested in having your shop profiled, or you've got a really like over the top great wrap that you would like to feature for our centerfold, or maybe you're a designer and you want to highlight your body of work, all the things that you've been working on, or how your passion goes into your design work, you could do a design studio article. And if you're just I don't fancy myself a writer, you can upload wraps for our featured wraps section, where all you have to do is send pictures and a logo. So there's a lot of ways to get involved with the magazine. You can always hit me up at rugs@therapfam.com. But while you're online, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you're getting the magazine. We love getting it out there. We're being read in over 60 countries now worldwide. It seems like every issue we've got an article being done in a different language, which is really, really cool. And we can't wait to have you participate. And that goes for everybody, big, small, new to the game, 30-year vets, you name it.
I'm definitely going to make sure I hit you up here. So, and you're, what is it, WrapFam or just WrapFam Unleashed on your socials?
It's WrapFam Unleashed on socials, and we are everywhere. So, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. What was the other one? I don't know, whatever. But yeah, we're kind of X. I guess we're everywhere.
Yeah, Twitter.
But yeah, whatever it is. But yeah, please follow us, send us stuff, shoot me a DM, shoot me an email. We'd love to have you involved. We're always looking for new voices and to show off new work from people who haven't been seen yet. So please don't be lazy. Get involved.
I really, really appreciate that. We definitely. What's your I guess what's your publish rate? If you had 10 submissions, how many of those you putting in?
Quite frankly, because we're digital and I'm not bound by paper and postage, I could put all 10 in depending on the layout. If it
so
works,
there's no excuse. There's no excuse of like,
no
I'm not going to make it in the magazine because this is.
No, actually, to be perfectly honest, the best way to participate, if you are of the latter ilk and you're like, look, I don't want to write, I just want to show off my work. Send me a link, send me a transfer link, send me a whatever that just sends me a body of your work. And then I can sprinkle it in here and there as we go. I mean, basically, if I do a feature that shows Cybertrucks and you've wrapped Cybertrucks, I at least have it in the hat to pull out and share with the audience. If I don't have it in the hat, I can't pull it out. So, I don't care if it's hot rods or rat rods or municipal vehicles or semis or whatever, buses, you name it. We're going to do features throughout the year or years. And, I can use it if I have it, but I can't use it if I don't. So don't wait. Send me something.
Beautiful. WrapFam.com, WrapFam Unleashed, and Rugs. That's with 2 G's.
2 G's.
RUGGS at WrapFam.com.
Yeah, the WrapFam.
The WrapFam.com. Don't listen to me. Listen to Rugs. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Thanks again for having me again.
You're welcome. No, thank you for coming on. I do truly appreciate it. I always get a little bit of a little apprehensive about asking people to come on and talk to me because I don't think who's going to want to sit down and talk to me for an hour, but that's another issue I got to get over myself, right? So
there you go. There's a couch session that you'll have where you get to lay there and somebody will ask you questions.
That's right. That's right. All right, man. I appreciate it. And hopefully if everything goes well, keep your fingers crossed. We will put this out in a couple of days and we'll go from there.
Sounds great. Thanks again, Brice.
All right. You're welcome. Have a good one.
Appreciate it. You too.